Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is. Thank you for joining us. This is Caroline, one of your hosts. We had some scheduling issues this week, and so we don't have the full editing team as usual. It's Avis running solo. So if the sounds are a little off or a little wonky or whatever, please know we'll be back to normal next week and bear with us and, you know, go easy on Avis because we like her and we want her to stick around. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.
Bring, 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 bring.
Hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of Season 2 of Your Mom's Podcast, the only podcast that's worth walking out on a date with one of Degrassi's coolest girls. I'm Caroline.
And I'm Avis.
And I'm producer Dylan.
And today we're discussing Degrassi Season 2, Episodes 9 and 10, Mirror in the Bathroom and Take My Breath Away. In Mirror in the Bathroom, roses are red. Receiving them is great. With a little disordered eating, Toby's sure he can make weight. Toby is sick of being a geek, and so he decides to try out for the wrestling team. But he doesn't think that he'll make the team in his current weight class, so he resorts to some drastic and unhealthy methods to drop a few kilos. Over in grade 9, Terry suddenly has tons of cash to spend, which leads Paige to be suspicious that she might be shoplifting. But Terry doesn't have sticky fingers. No, she's got a modeling contract for a nationwide campaign. You'd think that would be enough for her to realize she's gorgeous, but low self-esteem is still in hyperdrive until Spinner comes in with a pep talk for the ages.
So I feel like for me, the the Toby plot is so, I actually really like it. I appreciate that one of the randomness, like, oh, Toby's suddenly into wrestling. It's like he's not really into wrestling. He's wanting to, beef up his image and not just be known for his brain.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that it's like the inciting incident is that he placed third in the regional like computer competition, and no one really gives a fuck. And that's
Right.
like, he's like, damn it, this is the last straw. Like, flips the table, and
Nobody ignores jocks.
and literally what JT's like, yeah, people care about Brittany taking off her top. Like, they don't care about you. They don't care about a nerd competition.
Right.
And it's, I don't know if it's true, but personally, I think it's funny that that's the inciting incident for him. And he's like, naturally, because Sean is being congratulated for being in, like, placing high in wrestling, he's obviously going to go out for wrestling. Like, it's right there. Like,
Well, I think probably too, like, of the sports that you can do in school,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that wrestling's the one Toby's got the best shot at being able to figure out.
That's fair. Absolutely. Because he's like, yeah, it's like,
so he's lucky it was
study.
Wrestling season and not
he's
like
super
baseball
lucky
season.
Right, because out of all those sports, I think it's his best bet is wrestling. So like you said, he's lucky. And I mean, going to the tryouts, of course, Armstrong is the coach. So he finds out that he's in Sean's weight class instead of the shrimpy looking dude who he'd hoped to wrestle against.
That kid was adorable.
He's super cute.
He's so eager.
He's like, should we get to it? Should me and Toby get to it? And he's like, no, actually, Toby's with the big boys. It's so cute. I like that the look on his face, Toby's face, when he's going, like, trying to see if he can flip Sean or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then Sean just literally, like,
right, and it's like
manhandles him and smacks him.
I feel like I have really consistently noticed with Sean, especially where Toby is involved, like, mm-hmm. there's a certain level of, like, respect that he has for Toby, where he's like, okay, this is somebody who, for whatever reason, continues to choose to compete with me in things.
For whatever reason.
That I'm always going to beat him in, but I'm gonna be a gentleman about it, like, he's like,
oh my gosh,
He
That's
gives
funny.
Toby a minute to like try and come up with like a strategy or make a move before finally he's like, well, one of us has to do something.
Yeah,
So
like we gotta bust a move.
and
We're
and
not
spoiler
statues.
alert, shortly in the episode when Toby makes the wrestling team, you see this shot of Sean, and Sean looks proud of him.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, he's still the guy that, doesn't want to see you lose. He's still that
Right.
guy from the first season. So I think that's cool that they kept that about his character. He's going to do what he's got to do. He's obviously not going to throw anything for Toby. But I think that, yes, he's definitely proud of Toby for wanting to go out for the wrestling team, but also for once he makes weight in the different class, holding his own and everything.
yeah.
The training montage, I love it. I love a montage, but
It's
I
a good
specifically
montage.
love a training montage. Like they're probably only second to like makeover fashion montages, but
Mhm.
I love a training montage, and it's hilarious. JT's clipboard.
Right, and JT eating donuts as Toby's like jogging up the steps of Degrassi.
Yes.
I noticed something though towards the end of that when he's like, "Oh, 3 days and I've only lost 1 pound."
Yeah.
Y'all measuring in pounds or kilos?
I was
Canada?
thinking that.
What
I
the
was
fuck is
thinking that.
happening with that? Because I
Right.
can't.
They were too lazy to convert the weight classes from kilos to pounds, because I was just like, what the fuck? I'm not learning anything that I don't have to learn. I'm
Right,
gonna
this
Google
is
that
America.
shit. Like
But
this is
it was. Although I can see also because a pound is like less than a kilo.
Oh it says 53 kilos is 116 pounds. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. No, the conversion
Really?
is weird too. It's like how many pounds?
And I mean, not
I
to
think
fat
it's
shame a
2.2 pounds
child.
per kilo. Or
Yeah,
2.
it is. It is. Yep, you're right. 2.205.
2.2042 is what I'm
Oh,
seeing
you
it
got
using.
you got the breakdown. They simplified it to 05. You got 4.6 something, 4.96
Yeah.
or something. So Toby is supposed, because he's in the 57. What is his starting weight?
55.
55 kilos. Wow. I don't know why I thought that he wouldn't weigh that much.
I mean, that's not that much, is it?
It's not that much, but I don't know. I guess I was thinking like, oh, like 80 pounds. Like I'm still thinking he's like a fetus, like a zygote.
Well, because they all
He's
look
not.
like little babies. No, but
Right.
yeah, no, he's
Like
not.
where
He's
he
like,
eventually goes. I guess he's short. He is short. So like, tell me to guess someone's weight or age, and I will always be wrong. But
oh my
okay.
god, same. I hate both of those games.
Yes, me too. So he is in the originally when he gets weighed, he's 55 kilos, and that's 121 pounds roughly. And so when he gets weighed again, he weighs in at 53 kilos. So
Right.
that's
So
116 pounds.
Right. So that's like 7 pounds of weight loss in a week.
Yeah, which Armstrong is right. That is a weight, like, because like even reputable weight loss programs don't guarantee more than I feel like it's like the standard is maybe 5 pounds a week or something. That's
5 pounds. Anytime I've tried to do something like one of those, like anytime I've tried to do like a food
Weight
tracker,
or,
and it'll ask you
like
what
that.
your goal is, and most of the time it won't let you put in more than 3 pounds a week in loss, or if it does, it's like this is a drastic amount of weight loss and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I've done it before with keto, but no, 7 pounds in 1 week. I love too that Armstrong immediately is like, yo,
yeah, like anybody that'll
do not tolerate this shit.
Yeah, we're not like anybody that'll be caught is caught making weight will be cut, because like that's, and I think that's why it's like I like that the episode is automatically like as soon as he's Googling, or not Googling at this point, as soon as he's researching on the net, popular wrestlers and, having aspirations at being a professional wrestler, there are articles there about making weight and the dangers of making weight.
Mm-hmm.
And Toby's just like, oh, making weight, boy, like, oh, little bright. And he doesn't know. I feel like he gets that in his head, but then he doesn't know how he's going to make weight. It's not the natural. He's trying to exercise, it's not working. They go into a corner store, and JT warns him, oh, these aren't chocolate. I made that mistake the hard way, and they're laxatives. So
Yeah.
and it's definitely like a little light bulb goes off in his head,
Well,
because he's
it's
like, only you be dumb enough to make that mistake. So it's like implying that he's doing this very intentionally with full
mhm.
knowledge and of his decision
It
making.
starts before then though. Like it's not
Hmm.
as extreme, but like when you see him like jogging with the trash bag on.
Oh right, yeah, that's why he tries to make weight through just drastic exercising, and then when that
Yeah.
just doesn't work, he's like, this isn't, like, I can't make weight like this in the
Which
amount of time that I have.
which also like I don't know. One time I've actually done it a few times since because after the first time I was like, oh, actually this is good for me. But one day because I hated myself, I weighed myself like at least once an hour for a day.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought that it was going to make me hate myself more.
Mm.
But what it actually did was really kind of rework my understanding of like what bodies do in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Because like every single time I've done it, like from that time since,
Yeah.
in a day there's like a 3 to 5 pound fluctuation
There
depending on where
is.
you are in your day, what you've been doing, and all of that.
Right.
And like, so like, chill the fuck out, Toby. You've lost 1 pound in 3 days. Like, when you wake up
Actually,
tomorrow, it might be two.
right. I appreciate that sentiment, because like going on social media, you see these videos that are like, oh, what my body looks like at 8 a.m., what my body looks like at 12
Mm-hmm.
p.m., what my body looks like at 8 at night, like, and I do think those videos are helpful, because even people who are considered super slender, and they show you what their side profile looks like, no, I have a belly too. As soon as I eat, like, there is a fluctuation of, like, my
Right.
belly might be completely flat, but then I eat, or I drink some water, or I exercise, or whatever, and I look different. Like, and I mean, I personally haven't done that research of, like, that self observation of, oh, how does my body look in the morning versus the evening, and how, what if fluctuations have occurred. But I think that would probably be
I I think if you are the kind of person for whom that isn't a potential trigger into
right.
disordered eating or
Right.
other like disordered weight related behavior, I
Yeah,
think
it
it
could be
can
helpful.
be really helpful to
Yeah.
just kind of remind yourself that like our bodies do so much every day.
Yeah.
Even if you live a more sedentary lifestyle, like whatever you're doing, your body is doing amazing things all day long.
Absolutely.
And there are, you can kind of see that through looking at different things. And I think it's not for everybody. I think 100%. Um, if you're not the type of person who that's going to be healthy for, don't do it.
Don't do, yeah, and I think that's definitely, I'm glad that I feel like having that caveat to it, because like everyone has different triggers. Everyone, feels differently in regard to their bodies. Some people don't even have a scale in their house, because it's like, nope, I don't even want
Mm-hmm.
to do that. For a long time, I didn't have a scale in my house, and then I was just like, I need to get realistic. And for me personally, I'm only triggered by very specific things in terms of my weight. And you know I think for Toby, a big trigger was just trying to exercise and putting forth that effort and not seeing results.
Mm-hmm.
And I can relate to that, because it's just like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to be mindful about my eating, I'm exercising, and I'm not seeing any results. But it should be noted that in Toby's case, he's doing some, like, over the top, like depriving himself sort of shit. And your body doesn't deserve to be deprived, because it's literally working for you all day.
Mm-hmm. I think it's worth noting too, like, especially, Toby's only got this eating disorder for like a week or two
He
max.
definitely only has this eating
And
disorder for a
and
week or
so
two.
like certainly yeah, at some point in disordered eating your body kind of starts to eat itself.
Right.
But like at this
And then you
point
see
it's
those results.
just water
Yeah.
weight. Like Toby
Right.
is just really dehydrated and hungry.
Right.
Um
It's one of those, it's like we're at the mercy of the format type of thing, because unlike other, like a TV show that's an hour, or even a film that is an hour and a half, has a longer amount of time to plausibly give this character
mhm.
this issue. Like, we just saw Toby last episode. We know that he didn't have an eating disorder. However, I do think that they do portray it as within the medium,
Mhm.
as accurately and as truthfully as possible. Like, I think that, Ashley being suspicious of him not wanting muffins that he really likes, and just like, paying attention in that way, is a way to speed up the plot, because a lot of the times in these plots, people aren't paying attention
Right.
to what's
Right.
being eaten. Like, the parents weren't paying attention. It was Ashley who was
Right.
just like, "You're not eating," and like,
No, it's definitely the kind of thing that like if you want to hide it and
yeah,
you can. You
yeah,
slowly kind of make like
like,
little
yeah.
changes, little distractions, whatever, until, and then
Mhm.
people don't notice it until you're like dangerously in the throes of it. No,
Yeah.
and I get like it is one of the things that like can be detrimental, I think, to Degrassi, but I think
Hmm.
also works is that
I think it
like
works, and
yeah, we're
yeah,
gonna show an eating disorder in the span of 2 weeks, but
right.
we're gonna really focus on it. And
We are.
I really love that the first time that Degrassi tackles eating disorders, it's a boy
Yes,
having one.
me too.
The only other time I can think of that I've seen like in like teen shows a boy having an eating disorder, and I'm sure it's not the only other time, it's just the only time I can think of,
Hmm.
was I'm pretty sure it was a storyline in Popular.
Oh, what's popular?
Popular was a show that ran for a couple of seasons on WB, and it
Okay.
was about this really cool girl and then this lame girl, and their parents got married over the summer, so now they're sisters. It's like Leslie Bibb and somebody, Carly Pope.
Hmm.
And it's like a high school show.
Yeah.
It's the first place that I saw Darren Wilden from Pretty Little Liars.
Ah, okay. So we're
And
I got a time frame.
it had that guy from Varsity Blues, the bigger guy from Varsity Blues. And there was this, I feel like there's a storyline where he had an eating disorder, but it may have even just been binge eating disorder,
So
minus the purging.
I was really excited that we were going to record this episode today, because I actually randomly stumbled upon a podcast episode, and they covered this Lifetime movie that I was obsessed with when I was in college, called Starving in Suburbia, but it's also under the title Thinspiration. And
Okay.
it's basically, the premise is a dancer goes on this Thinspiration website. It's basically Tumblr. It's a la Tumblr, but it's not Tumblr. And she gets embroiled in this very quickie eating disorder. And I call it a quickie eating disorder because it's about over the course of maybe 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest, that's stretching it a little bit. Um, and long story short, someone is threatening her from the website and saying, "Oh, I know who you are. I know all about you. You should get off this website." And it's revealed that it's her brother, who is a wrestler, who is also being very heavily controlled with his eating by their father. And it's like the B plot of the
Mm-hmm.
movie. And the it mirrors a lot of the episode. I think the people who wrote this who wrote this movie were watching this episode, because there's literally a scene where the wrestler
Mm-hmm.
collapses in the middle of the meet, and nobody realizes that he's dead. Spoiler alert for this film, he's dead. He's been having an elongated eating disorder over maybe a year, and his heart gives out.
Yeah.
And there's even a scene where the father is told by the daughter, like, he is anorexic, he's got an eating disorder, and or not anorexic specifically. She says eating disorder. And it's kind of like JT's part where he's like, what? He's a boy. He can't have an eating
Right.
disorder. And it's like, no, yeah, it's very legitimate. And I like that it's, it's not always having to do with sports, but that is a lot of the where the disordered eating comes from for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
men and boys. It's because, oh, okay, you're on a strict regimen, you need to get calories and everything, but it's not focusing on satisfaction. It's focusing on weighing how much food goes into your body, and it's very disordered.
Yeah.
But we don't, like having that, like, be the mirror of like, oh, I was just casually watching this, and then I'm like, oh, I know the episode,
Well,
and I
I
know
think
that this is like a direct mirror. It's really,
I
really
think
great
for a
film. I just
really
spoiled it, but
I think for a really long time, like when we talked about disorder, we didn't talk about disordered eating. We talked about eating disorders. And when we
right,
talked about eating disorders, it was anorexia and it was bulimia.
right.
And there wasn't a lot of talk about varying degrees. There wasn't talk
Hmm.
about just pure binge eating disorder. There wasn't
Or
talk
even the
about
behavior, like
or the
what goes
behaviors
into
or
it,
like
the
any of it.
triggers, none of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very black and white. Growing up, there was very much anorexia, bulimia. It's not like now I
Well,
really
and
do
like
think it's generalized eating disorder, because disordered eating is not just falling under those two
well, and there's
specific
also
disorders.
this like misconception of like what eating disorders look like. Like certainly, yes, that like really skinny look can be indicative of an
Hmm.
eating disorder, but like if you talk to fat people who have had severe eating disorders
Right.
and how impossible it is to get treatment because nobody believes you have an eating disorder.
Right.
Or if they do, they're like, well, it might be okay for a while. When my mom was in high school, my mom wasn't even fat in high school. Like her face was a little round. But my grandmother like was like, well, you could just develop anorexia for like a little while and we'll pull you back.
Literally, those comments were super prevalent around, like, the diet culture, the super, like the,
Mm-hmm.
what's that, that model that was super thin, that made being super
Kate
thin, and
Moss.
Kate Moss, thank you, the Kate Moss effect, and people saying like longingly, like, oh, I wish I was bulimic. That has been in films. I'm pretty sure that,
Mm-hmm.
like, saying like, I wish I could have an eating disorder just for the weekend so that I could, fit
Yeah.
into this or
Oh,
that. It's
in Never Been Kissed, there's a scene where one of Drew Barrymore's like fake friends is like, "That's it, only water and X-Lax until prom."
it's like, and calling yourself a heifer like this, and I mean, I feel like Degrassi is right in the middle of that, like, culture. And and I mean, that's why I really think that's why it's tacked in with the B plot, because it's like
Right.
body image and self-esteem, and your status in the world, but like, they're two sides of the similar coin.
Growing up a fat girl, like, and I'm so like, it's so cringe to think about now because like as a kid, like they tell you eating disorders are dangerous and horrible for you and horrible for your mental health, but like
Yeah.
you don't necessarily really conceptualize it. Like as a fat girl, I tried to develop an eating disorder more times than once.
Same. Same.
Like
Unfortunately, like, I was put on ADHD medication, and as you know, ADHD medication, I was on Concerta, and it's baby speed. And I
mm,
went from a little chubby, I was healthy, but I had a little belly. I went from that to being a stick who did because I didn't want to eat. That was a side effect of the medication. It made me not want to eat because it was speed. And as soon as I went off of that medication around 13 years old, I heavily started trying to diet and not eat. And it was very hard because I like food.
that's
Okay.
a rough time to like go off of a because like
Uh huh.
that's a point in time where like you're just naturally have more of an appetite because your
Correct.
body is doing so much and
Yeah.
like you're more likely to like chub out for a minute before
Hmm.
your next growth spurt or whatever,
Right.
or before as like your weight figures out what it's doing in your body or whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like such a self-conscious time. That would suck to go from like, yeah, yeah.
It is. It definitely, it was weird. And I mean, I think that it's definitely like the span of a couple years makes a difference. You know, like I wasn't thinking about my body until I went off of that medication, and then I just naturally started
Mhm.
eating again, and the weight came back, and I was like,
Right.
oh yeah, damn.
Um,
It's been very hard.
can we talk about the super cringy Toby with Nadia and Kendra?
He
I
was high
hate
off those laxatives. Oh
I
my
hate when
gosh.
they make Toby like a little baby incel.
Grody. Yeah.
I hate it so much. And they do it so much. And it's not fucking fair to my precious baby Toby.
Yeah, the Kendra's face is just like
But I like
chill.
that she's like, she's still into him. She's like, we're going to go cheer you
Yes.
on.
He's feeling himself because he's got the little windbreaker on. And everything.
Hmm.
Because he gets a windbreaker for being on the wrestling team. Everybody gets one. He is told unceremoniously, like,
I
here you go.
love too that like in the lunchroom scene when Ashley confronts him about not eating,
Hmm.
you see Armstrong is watching him.
Yes. Yep. I like that too.
Armstrong really cares. You know, I think we talk about Snake a lot.
We do.
Armstrong is also a really good teacher.
He is. He's like, and I mean, there's a sternness to him that I think that Toby needs, but that there's also like, okay, if something's wrong, like I'm going to be here for you, like just
Mhm.
talk to me. And I mean, I think that it's because Toby's such a smart kid, he knows he shouldn't be making weight. But like the fact that Armstrong's not just like in his mind like, oh, Toby's too smart for that, like the fact that he actually
Right.
tells him like, if you're caught making weight you will be cut, and then is still really like concerned about him just functioning. And I mean, it's he's got well, yeah, we know how he's going to fare in the Shining Stars and everything, but he's definitely a champion for Toby this episode. Him and
Mhm.
Ashley are on it. Like I
Yeah, no,
like they're on the
Ashley is really great in this episode. And like,
she
although I
is.
do want to ask, the fuck is a garburator? Because that's what she
It's
says
a
to him in the cafeteria. She's like, "You're normally a garburator. Is that like a garbage
it's a
disposal?"
garbage disposal. That's what they
Okay.
call them in other places. I went on. I know that through absolutely incidental means. So no worry. Like
All right, America hat.
yeah, yeah.
And
And
then,
yeah.
so we get to the wrestling match, which I have another question, which is, why
Mhm.
the fuck is Armstrong the referee when he's the coach of one of the competing teams? It doesn't make any sense.
I really think that they're just like, we don't need to hire another person for this scene.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go because it's more dramatic if Armstrong is right on the like he could just be there anyway. Maybe the
Yeah.
guy who was playing the referee got stuck in traffic and they were like, fuck it, we're
Maybe
not
he
waiting
got
for
caught
you.
making weight.
And they were like, you're cut. You're done.
And then we wrap the episode up nicely with Toby having learned his lesson.
And I think that, you know, JT telling him, oh, Kendra was so worried and everything and
Mm-hmm.
asking about you. Do you really think you're invisible now,
Yeah.
Tobes? Which I think I like how they ended it, his plot, because it's not just, you know, JT, there's no chastising of him. It's more like, oh, you think that you're invisible. You think that just because you're known for your brain that people aren't going to pay attention to you. Jocks, you know, like you're not a jock and you're not invisible. And I love
Right.
that they ended his plot on that note.
Yeah, no, JT's a good friend in this one too, which is nice.
Except when he in the beginning when
Right.
when he pushes him to the edge.
And I like this is the like main focus, you know, because I do like bullet points of the plots,
Yeah.
just to kind of keep track of stuff. And like, it's so funny. Normally they're kind of balanced, but this one it's like I've got probably 15 bullet points for the Toby plot and 5
Yeah.
for Terry, which is
Right.
fine.
It is fine. I mean, like they're doing a simplification of it's a reoccurring, you know, we know Terry's has body and self-esteem issues.
Right.
And we know that she got the card from Toby's mom in Parents' Day.
Right.
So in the course of that time, Terry has decided to call and get her own agent. And now she is doing modeling work. On the low, she's hoping to keep it on the low, but it's very
Right.
much like a payout of other storylines that we've had. So I appreciate that it's not too much. It's like, I appreciate that they do devote most of the time to Toby, but they still give,
Well, it's the more important storyline, but I
it's
do
totally more
also
important. Yeah.
think there's some great stuff in the Terry plot line.
There is. I mean, why does Paige think that why is that the first thing that Paige skips to? I always wonder, theft Paige? Like,
I don't know because
theft
and then
Paige?
she's like so mean about it right
She
away.
is. She's like, I'll drop it when you tell me where you're getting the cash. Are
And-
you like the
Yeah.
IRS? Why are you up her butt? Or whatever similar agency it
And
is
like
in Canada.
Hazel being so offended by the whole thing. Can you believe her? Like, yes, y'all mind your business.
She doesn't want to tell you her business.
I love Spinner being like, back the fuck off.
Mm-hmm. Spinner's not playing any of this shit this episode.
Spinner still doesn't like Paige. Paige still doesn't like Spinner.
They're
Spinner
not.
seems to like Terry. I feel like we were robbed of this ship.
We were robbed at gunpoint because we were robbed at gunpoint. I can't with the fact that he has like the way that he reassures her. It's so sweet.
Oh God, yeah, no.
It's and he's her fan throughout this entire episode. He's like, "Damn it, Terry, you didn't tell me you were doing big things." And
I know. I love. He's like
rings.
So hyped to be like, guys, look at Terry's ad, and it is a beautiful shot.
It is. They got her cheekbones. They got the light. Like she's serving faith. Like I just think that the fact that he's the one who's like the champion for her doing this, and we were so deprived. We're so deprived of them as a wholesome couple because even him saying, "Oh, her," again jumping ahead.
One of the things. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, jumping ahead to the confrontation where she's like, "Don't you like skinny girls?" And he's like, "Sometimes," but like he's being very diplomatic.
That I noted that I loved actually,
yeah,
was she calls herself fat,
and
Spinner does only half of something that's really annoying as a fat girl.
Yeah.
Which is when you say you're fat and people say you're not fat, you're pretty.
Beautiful.
But he doesn't say you're not fat.
He said you're
pretty. You're pretty.
Terry, you're pretty.
You're really pretty.
You're really pretty. I agree. He doesn't say
that.
It's like I'm fat and it's not I'm fat but.
Right.
Like,
right, bitch, I didn't say I was ugly. I said I
was fat. I know I'm not. Like, bitch, I know I'm obviously not ugly. I'm a model. Like, I know that I'm not ugly, but I'm fat. And I do agree. Like, he does not invalidate her. He's not like, no, you're not fat. No, come on now. You're not fat.
No,
you're big boned. Do you remember that? You're big boned.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that people have stopped saying that. Like, I haven't heard it in a while. If you still say that, please try to phase it out.
But yeah, don't call people big boned. Don't say you're not fat, you're pretty. And also, for the love of all that is good and holy, do not tell your fat friends you are proud of them for existing as fat people. Like, I like to rock a crop top sometimes. And like, god damn. I used to have a friend, and I still have love for this friend. We're not speaking right now. It'll get worked out eventually. But, like, I'd put on a crop top, and she'd be like, every single time, I'm proud of you. And it's like, I'm not doing anything to be proud of. Like, I'm wearing an awesome outfit because I am awesome and hot.
Yeah, I'm just existing.
My little belly is cute. Sometimes I draw a face on it.
Listen, and I feel like reclaim the belly. Our bellies are not like I used to aspire to a flat stomach, not a 6-pack. I wanted a flat stomach my entire life. However, I don't think that my body's built that way. I think that I'm destined to have like a little paunch. I think I've now realized it's kind of cute. You know, like I am embracing the paunch, and I'm also embracing that you're protecting my organs, paunch. My
Yeah.
organs aren't just out here for poking. It's
It, for me, a big turning point was like realizing how many like bigger women I find attractive.
yeah.
Actually, shout out to a local burlesque performer in my area, Katniss Everqueer.
Oh, I love
Um,
that name.
she is beautiful. She is talented. She is unapologetically and loudly fat.
Yeah.
And honestly, she was a big step on my journey towards like loving my own body. Was like being like, oh damn, no, she's really fucking hot. Look at that belly.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
and like I'm glad that that's shifting, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, just let people wear crop tops. It's not. Don't make it a
Please.
thing.
It's not revolutionary. It's just we're
Right?
just
Don't tell
existing.
me that you're proud of me. Tell me that my outfit looks cute because it fucking
Yeah.
does. I'm fashionable as fuck.
Your outfit is very cute, Caroline.
No, it's not. Right now, I'm in a Walmart sleep shirt. It's
First
got
of
it's
all,
got little camper. Actually, it is very cute.
I
It's
was
got
gonna say
campers
it's
and like
cute. Don't
evergreen trees and shit. It's very
don't.
cute.
It's cute. I do.
But it's not like the caliber of
It's
like
not
outfit that I can put
yes.
together.
Right. It's not yes.
But yeah, so I love the spinner pep talk. We're
Mm-hmm.
fucking robbed. And then I love
It's
in
so
that last
reassuring.
scene when Muhammad's giving her shit again.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry just fucking shines. She's
And
like, yeah, I'm plus size, whatever, bitch. I made $500 today.
yeah, like, and then of course they gotta put him in his little ice cream boy hat, and
Yeah.
it's hilarious. Like he just looks like derp, and it's like, come on now. It was it, and but at this time, it was very real to make fun of someone for
Mhm.
being fat.
Oh, yeah.
Now we love fat people as a society, sort of.
Mhm.
Sort of.
We're getting
We,
there.
we're getting there. It's more like body positivity. Whatever you've got, come with it. I love the summer body or beach body. It's like the beach is gonna get this body, summer's gonna get whatever this body.
We've definitely seen a big shift, but it is
There's a shift.
also,
Yeah,
it
you
is
got some work.
also, there's a long way to go, and there's a lot of resistance to it, and there's a lot of like,
Yes.
even like, like like, okay, I've seen it a lot more so on Twitter since 2016, conversations about Donald Trump.
I guess so.
Fuck that guy. This is a Donald Trump slander podcast.
Obviously.
And there are 1,000,001 things to trash that guy on. Having a body type like mine is not one of them.
Yeah.
And he's never going to see it, but I see it every fucking time, and I think that we still like we run into that where like people, there's certain things where like people, I hate to use the term woke, but like the people who present themselves as woke, and then when somebody
Yeah.
that they don't like comes on the scene, it's the same as like I have known so many people who don't have a problem dead naming or misgendering somebody that they don't like. How often, like when somebody is going to jail, there are jokes about prison rape. It's not okay to misgender or dead name anybody,
Right.
at least not intentionally. It is not okay to make fun of people's body types, and it is not okay to make jokes about rape, regardless of who the butt of the joke is. Like, that shit is harmful, and that shit makes you no better than like the people who just like do it free will all the time.
Yeah, it's very problematic, and I know what you mean. It's definitely like, there's a double standard. I think that there's I mean, there's some kind of quote. I feel like I'm paraphrasing a couple different quotes, but it's just like, don't judge a person by how they treat someone that they enjoy. Judge the person by how they treat someone that they don't enjoy, that they don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't like, whatever. Because that is who that person really is. And it's like, I have my own viewpoints, I have my own feelings, but at the end of the day, I try to operate as like, would I want someone to do this to me? And I know that's a very basic kindergarten sandbox ass way to go through life, but I find that it's worked out.
Right.
Like, if I don't want you to do this to me, or if I would like this to be done in my favor, I will go out of my way to try to be the change or whatever I want to see in the world, because it's like, at the end of the day, I don't want someone to do this to me. If I drop something, I would like it and my hands are full, it would be cool if someone picked it up. So I try to
Right.
do the same thing, like, there's just respectability politics that I think a lot of people don't care to adhere to when it's someone that they find unsavory. But
Mhm.
that just reveals how much of a child, in not even, because not to insult a child, but not being able to see past your own nose, and it's like, I'm right and these people are wrong, so fuck these people. Like,
Right.
and definitely, it's just a big culture that I think is important to note, because Terry is steeped in a lot of, oh, this is the look. This is what you have to look like to be respected, to be
Mhm.
desired sexually. And she does not look that way. And that is a lot of where, because in magazines as well, there were not plus size models.
Right.
In general, like, I feel like 17 and Cosmo Girl eventually got there, but
I mean, even
they were.
still though, like I live in Vermont. There's not a lot of shopping. There's even less shopping for fat women. Like, and I'm not just gonna shop at Torrid. Okay, I'm not. You can't make me. Um, and so I have to do a lot of online shopping, and like it is so frustrating how many plus size models are just thick. They've
Hmm.
got like a round face, maybe the tiniest bit of belly, like an ate a big lunch belly, and tits and ass and hips. And I'm like,
Where are the
I want to
rolls at?
know,
Where are
right? I
the
want to know what
the
this
the
is going to look like
folds?
on my body or
Yes,
something
like,
similar.
yes, and I agree. Like, there's, like, I think Aerie is a big
Mm-hmm.
offender of this, because they make underwear, and they have recently started doing, and I've recently, as in maybe the last 8 to 9 years, a body positive campaign where they are trying to represent every body. But you
Mm-hmm.
do see more stylized versions of a fat body. You're seeing a sleek airbrush version.
You know, something more realistic would be nice.
Something more
Personally,
realistic would
I
be
would
great.
love some representation for the fat girls with no tits and no ass.
Oh, that
Um,
would be marvelous.
it's so fucking hard for me to buy a bra. Band sizes are like, I do not understand. Speaking of bras and such, should we mosey on over to the corner?
Yeah, the fashion corner.
Your favorite corner.
It is my favorite corner. It's a little scant for me today. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to
It's,
you.
yeah, no, surprisingly. I do want to give a shout out to Liberty's pink and green polo when she's doing the morning announcements, just because I 100% had that polo.
Yeah,
I do
absolutely.
believe it came from PacSun.
I love
Um,
it. I love a Liberty shout out, because she is not usually on this
no,
corner.
especially early on. And if she is, it ain't for anything good.
It really isn't.
And then I also really liked in that first classroom scene the like blue and black top that Emma was wearing. It was like black like body, and then the sleeves. It's like a sleeveless polo, and the sleeves and the lapel are blue,
Oh, okay.
and it looks cute on her.
Like I said, it's scant for me. The couple outfits I did identify, though, I liked Paige and Hazel as a duo.
Mm-hmm.
When Paige is accusing Terry of fucking shoplifting, it's it's not a sheer, but it's like a zhuzhy type blouse that is. I feel like it has looked like tie dye inspirations. Like, it's not a tie dye shirt, but there are
Mm-hmm.
tie dye elements in it. And then she has her little tinted purple sunglasses. The blouse is purple as well. And of course, it's a belly shirt. And then Hazel's is like a button up shirt with a black t shirt under it, or it's probably a cami. And it's like, I mean, I think they work as a duo. I don't think that there's anything super like remarkable to write home about. But as far as this episode, there was not a lot to write home about for me as far as fashion. So
Yeah.
they're probably my favorite
No,
outfit this episode.
the only other thing I had was in that scene for a second when Terry's sitting there, it looks like she's actually looks pretty cute. She's got this like dark coral button up over a white cami. She's
Yes.
got like a little not quite choker, looks like a
Yes.
heart necklace. She's got hoops. Her hair looks great. Her makeup looks great. I was
Yes.
like, "Go, Terry, you look so cute." Then she gets up and walks
I
away
was
with
gonna
Spinner.
say, Carol,
And
I'm so glad that you.
I saved it as in the Google Drive. I had like, "What's this? Terry in a cute outfit," and then JK, what are those?
What are
Because
those?
so she's wearing this denim skirt that's like shin length, and then fucking white sneakers.
It's so
It's
it's
so
so like
bad.
suburban mom in the 90s going to pick her kids up from daycare. Just
It's
so
not
bad.
it's not a good look.
It's
And
literally from the like it's a profile sort of outfit.
it's such a cute top. She looks so cute until she walks away.
Even some jeans would have been better than that fucking
Right?
skirt and those shoes.
Right. Or like
That
I
skirt
don't
is
like
a
an
no.
ankle length skirt that much. I mean, it depends, like the right skirt.
The right skirt.
But like make her look like a fucking like Pentecostal ass ankle length denim skirt would be better than like what is the length of this skirt? I hate it.
It's
I hate
really,
it.
it shows like her it's very much like Degrassi Degrassi wardrobe department calling you because I need to understand where you are like sourcing these outfits for Terry. She is a model now. Please dress
Right?
her like such, as such. Jeez.
So, but I think with that we've exhausted the fashion of this episode.
Yeah, because I think Paige has a repeated Barbie doll top, and I think she's wearing the same jacket too from a couple episodes ago, and that was my only other screenshot. So I'm good. Fashion Corner was a little bit disappointing.
Look, they can't all be winners.
They cannot all be winners. They can't. But
we do have a hun count for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 2. Paige says, "Okay, hun, we grow tired of your games. You gotta spill." When she wants to know why Terry has a new coat and a new bag and a new phone and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they see the ad, she says, "Terry, you look fabulous. Hun, why didn't you tell us?" And those are our huns. So add 2 more to the tally.
Now, obviously, it's time for the final segment of this episode. It's shots fired.
Pew, 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 pew.
Shots fired.
So my first one is when Toby says he's going to be a jock and Ashley calls him, she's like, "Okay, jock strap."
And it's Toby to Ashley again because she asks him, aren't you going to eat breakfast? And he says, "No. Now go back to sipping your blood and leave me alone."
Yeah, I like the whole Toby is like, because he calls her vampire at some point too. Toby's like,
he does. She has transitioned into her goth era. So
and Toby is
I don't
like,
know if we mentioned that in the fashion corner because we just didn't.
But
she's
gone full goth.
She's gone full.
She's chameleon.
Yeah, she's definitely gone full goth. I don't know if you ever go full goth, but she's gone. She's gone. Mm-hmm.
First off, and this is the dirtiest shot fired, is Paige. They're looking at Terry's like modeling photos, and she's like, "That mini skirt is so cute. I'd totally wear it if I was a plus."
Oh my gosh, Paige.
Fuck you, Paige.
Yeah.
And then when Spinner sees Terry's ad, and he like comes inside and he's like, "Terry, why didn't you tell us?" And then everybody's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Come on, I got to show you something." And Paige goes, "Not that again," which is clearly a throwback to Weird Science. And then my last one was just part of Terry's great little tirade on Mohammed is when she goes, she's like, "I made $500 today, blah, blah, blah." And she ends it with, "What did you make, ice cream boy?"
Yes, I actually like, and I mean, it's not a shots fired, but it's in the line. Her saying, "Most girls on the planet look like this, so get used to it." And Paige is back there
Yeah.
co-signing, like, "Sure, sure do, like, sure do.
Right.
Yeah, you better." Like, it's definitely like a burn shots
Yeah, for
fired.
as much as Paige is a bitch in this one, she's all right.
And take my breath away. Roses are red, cotton candy is pink. Someone's crushing on Marco, but it's not who he thinks. Sick of waiting for Craig to make a move, Manny asks him out on a date. While she thinks they've had a major love connection, Craig has decided she's too immature for him. And meanwhile, Ellie musters the courage to tell Marco she likes him in the least courageous way possible and the least direct. In all fairness. So yeah, this episode, I feel like I remember this episode so vividly.
Yeah, it's
Like,
one of the iconic. It starts
yeah,
with that dream sequence.
that and like the budget for these dream sequence and like the execution of these dream sequences is fairly impressive.
Yeah,
They're all so good.
Craig comes in. Well, it starts with class where I just want to point out real quick
Mm-hmm.
because I got beef with Quan and Shakespeare. That
Yes.
quote is inaccurate.
Oh damn.
The one she's got up on the board. It's the quote is if music be the food of love, play on. But she has if music be the fruit. So
Oh
on quit teaching Shakespeare, but
no.
I will say I got real nervous for a second because she was talking about C.S. Lewis,
Mhm.
and I got real nervous that she was teaching these kids C.S. Lewis, and she definitely shouldn't be doing that.
No, she shouldn't. But I really want to pull her credentials. I just need to know Quan what's going on. She's
So we transition from Quan not knowing the quote to the most amazing fantasy sequence.
it's so and I mean I think it's a good like encapsulation of her psyche at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's watching way too many telenovelas, but she's also like still thinking that she's a princess and that Craig is her, her prince charming, and it's just hilarious. It's a very sweet bubblegum pink tinted sort
I
of scene.
I love. Did you notice that JT is in the background of her fantasy with his pencil in his ear?
No, I
Because there's
didn't.
like a shot of him before the fantasy sequence starts, and he's like kind of digging around in his ear with a pencil.
Mhm.
And during the fantasy sequence, when you see him in the background, that's what he's doing still.
And like I really love that you noticed that detail because I think that the the fact that I've seen this episode so many times, I still focus on Craig and Manny in that scene versus being because like sometimes
Right.
when you rewatch something so many times, you're like, okay, I can look in the background now and like examine, but they're just I don't know why it's such a like something I gotta watch every time. Um,
Yeah. No, I mean, because you do. The singing is so bad.
it is, and I
Um,
mean.
Manny like has so much vibrato. She sounds like a chipmunk. It's cute.
And I
Um,
mean, it has to be the rubber band snap back to reality because
right.
the only reason and like Craig is near her and she's kind of like, oh shit. And he's like, your chair's on a cord. Can you fucking move?
Right.
Can you fucking move so I can leave your classroom because we're not in the same grade? I'm just literally popping in the classroom to get something and I'm leaving.
Snake and Spike are getting married, which they have a really short engagement because it's like 2 episodes later that they're having their wedding.
Yeah.
But I digress.
They're like,
Because
we've waited too fucking long for this shit. We need to get
Right.
it popping.
The grade eights making this little like flash animation
They
of
love
them as
making
like cake
those.
toppers. And it's
Yes.
cute because like they are like, Mr. Simpson, there's something wrong with your computer. We think you have a virus.
Yeah, just like,
And
have you been?
he's all like stressed out and like in his cute little Archie way.
And he
And what is
also asked if JT's been sending him naked
Right.
monkey butt pictures or
naked
some
baboon videos or something? Which
videos. Yeah,
aren't all baboons naked?
naked. Yeah, they should be unless people have taken shit one step too far.
Right.
Yes, and I'm like, also secondary question: why are you sending your teacher that?
Right.
Why are you on such a friendly basis to be sending? And I know, like, oh, I saw this wacky thing on the internet was a big thing to do in the early internet. However,
Right.
that is your
Send him a
teacher.
Homestar Runner. Like,
Oh my gosh, please. Um,
oh,
but yeah, they love making these little e-cards for him. They did, I think this is like the third time they've done it. And it keeps coming back, like the little, oh, interactive. Oh, because they made one for when we thought that they were going to graduate. And it was like, oh, we love you, Mr. Simpson. Thank you, Mr. Simpson.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is the second time. But yeah, so they are getting married, and of course Emma waits to ask him after she's already done it, is it okay that I do
Right.
this?
Whatever, it's Emma. It's how she's
It's
gonna
fucking
do.
it. Yeah, she's
Do
gonna
you
ask for
think?
forgiveness for
Do
rather
you
than
think that
permission.
Spike being the one to propose is what gives Manny the
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 push.
idea to ask Craig out?
I think that that's very plausible. And I also just think it's like, because even if she had that idea and her personality wasn't set up to where she could put herself on the line like that, I don't think that, but like, I think Manny and Spike are proven to be pretty similar in like their personality. And I think that Manny looks up to Spike. So I think that's entirely plausible that she's like, oh, I'm a
Well, if
strong,
Spike can do it, I
independent
can do it.
woman. Yeah, like
Can
just
I
like
just say
Spike.
too? I love yet again Snake not answering a question.
Yeah.
Because Manny's like, what does it feel like to find your true love? And he's just
He's
like, I
like, I
hope
don't
you
know,
all
don't.
find somebody you care
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Like,
He's like, I'm not doing this shit with you, man.
right?
He's like, pass.
I love too when she asks Craig out for the date and she's just like, Craig, I like
I
you.
like you. And she's like, oh shit, I just said that. That wasn't in my head, and walks
Right.
away like with her fingers on her temples. And he's like, wait, no. Like, and I really do. I have to commend her for the size of her cojones, because like, damn girl,
Oh,
I've
yeah,
never
no.
done that, and I am 29 years old. I have
Right.
never flat out said, just walked up to a crush, not like someone that I know likes me back, a crush. You have no idea if that person likes you or not. And you're just like, I like you.
I mean, Craig did ask Manny to dance, so she's got at least
She's got some, yes.
But
she
it's
does
been a
have
while since then.
encouragement. She's gotten some sense of encouragement from him. But to be like, I like you, what are you gonna do about it? Type of, it's like,
Right.
yes,
Right.
Manny, you are so in the dawn of life, and you've already gotten this big thing out of the way, which is like getting over yourself and being able to confront shit you want. It's so hard to get out of your brain and actually say the thing that you want to say. So I love that at 13 years old, this girl's got this shit on lock. And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, I'm doing this. And of course, Craig kind of has to just fall in line and react to it versus being the one who's
and I think, I think
aggressor.
Not on par with like how impressed Sean is when Emma's like, actually, I just got my period, bitch.
Right.
But like, I think he's impressed by the balls there, and he's like,
I think
yeah.
he is too. I think that's part of why he said, and I mean, I don't think he dislikes her.
No, he
but he
clearly
likes her. But I think that it wasn't something he was pressed to pursue.
Yeah, he wasn't going to ask her out.
He wasn't going to ask her out. I think at this time as well, which is why they, later in the episode, they parallel with how still naive and young Manny is versus Ashley, and how big a difference a year does make at this age.
Right.
That there's still some back and forth between Craig and Ashley. He's intrigued by her. He relates to her. They had that scene where they were describing themselves in the beginning of the season, and seeing stars in there, because they're like, oh, kindred spirits, we feel similarly, whatever. Like they already had a little bit of a connection, similar to how he has had a connection with Manny. So it's like, kind of, I think he would have just ping-ponged in Craig fashion and gone back and forth until something tipped. He wasn't going to be the one to be like, I like you, Manny.
And I like Joey ends up being kind of creepy, but he's like, isn't Manny kind of young for you?
Yeah.
And Craig's like, it's only 11 months, which, like, yeah, it is. But again, it's one of those, my boyfriend in 8th grade was a 9th grader.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was in a completely different like
Yeah,
world than I was. He also had
absolutely.
like 3 girlfriends, as it turned out.
Damn,
Dude,
not
one of them lived
3.
right down the street from me.
Brazen as fuck. That's
Brazen
so
as fuck.
wow.
Um,
Stacked them up. Um,
but like,
he's like, yeah, Joey's like AJ, nothing but a number. But
yeah, no,
Joey,
Joey,
don't that has connotations that we no.
right, right. And like,
No.
is it really creepy for a 9th grader to date an 8th grader? I don't think so.
I don't think it's creepy. I think just
But I do
developmentally
think that, yeah, you're in different
every year.
places.
Yeah, every year is a and I think that we talked a little bit about it in our previous episode, just about how in high school you do potentially have 13 going on 14-year-olds in the same school as 17 going on 18-year-olds, and it's just like,
Right.
well, that's a big difference. A 13-year-old and an 18-year-old are miles apart developmentally, not even just physically but mentally as well. Those years
Socially. And like,
socially, right, and the thing, right, there's just a completely different playing field, that every year is so important in adolescence, at, like, you are growing rapidly, and it is shown that, just like, not that Manny's super immature, it's just she's not there yet. She's she still wants to go to carnivals. I mean, but relatable. But there's still
I still want to go
I
to
still want to
carnivals.
go to
I
carnivals,
don't want to
but
go
I'm
to
not going to
whatever
be
that
running.
janky ass carnival
I was going to
was.
say that bargain basement mall weird. I would never go on any of those rides because they probably fucking lean
They
to
were
the
all made
side.
for children.
Like, I love, I self-described kid shit. I love it, but I'm still not running around being like, oh my god, I love the balloons and the clowns, and it's very much like an. Oh, I love that
Well,
they we don't get that the objective point of view.
right.
We
I
get
think,
both their versions, so it's just like we
which
don't
are
know.
both clearly exaggerated.
Clearly exaggerated, and it's like, I really know that she did not speak in that voice for any part of
Right.
that date, because she's just trying to appeal more mature. She's not going to do that.
Yeah.
But I do believe that she did some of the kid shit that she is depicted as doing, like being excited about the carnival, wanting cotton candy, and specifically wanting to, take a shot at that carnival game. Like, I do think obviously the meat is there, but I think it's just demonstrating how much, like, okay, yes, I like you, but we're not there yet. Like, there's just too much difference between us still.
Right.
Like, I am not, and I think that had they gone to the movie, it's possible they would have gotten she would have gotten a second date, because there's only so many things you can do to fuck it up
I think too, though, like it sets the tone for Craig and Manny forever, because honestly, Craig is always kind of indifferent to Manny, and I think it's a really interesting parallel to the other first date that we've seen, which was Emma and Sean.
Yeah,
where like a bird straight up shit on Emma, and Sean was still like, I'm
rolling with it. I'm rolling with it, boo. Go change your outfit.
Because like, it's a really superficial reason to stop liking somebody, but I can also see at that age being like I'm never going to be able to look at you and not
without seeing the bird shit.
But yeah, Craig's so indifferent to Manny, and their date does not go well at all. But Manny doesn't pick up on it. She thinks that he's just moody. I get honestly really embarrassed for Manny in this episode.
Me too.
When she decorates the locker, and then Ashley comes up, and the whole GM Foods thing, which, like, people were barely talking about GM Foods then. Like, let's not look at Manny like she's an idiot. That's not how you win people over to your side on something, Ashley.
It's not, but you know how Ashley feels about Manny.
Well, but she doesn't yet.
What she feels about her is built upon every episode in reference to Craig. So in this episode, my personal feeling is that she understands that this young girl, in her mind, she's a little girl. This little girl has a crush on Craig.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that necessarily she likes Craig. I just think that she's friendly enough with Craig that she's like judging him a little bit for that. Just like,
Right.
that's not tasteful, or kind of like she's judging. Like, that's, I guess that's the best thing I can boil it down to. She is judging the shit out of their relationship because
Yeah.
she's obviously too young. And I think that's where that attitude comes from, is
Right.
where did this little girl come from type of thing, Craig.
I
And
do. Can we jump back just a minute? Because I just noticed something in my notes that I missed.
oh, and Dylan, did you have something to interject?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was gonna say when we were talking about Sean and Emma's first date, like they were very much on the same page. They seemed like similar levels of maturity. We have very differing levels of maturity between Craig and Manny, but Sean should be in Craig's grade. So there's a very similar age difference between Emma and Sean and Manny and Craig. But I think that that really speaks to what we'll find out later about Manny's upbringing, is that her parents really are not interested in her becoming a young woman at all. Whereas Emma's being raised by a single mom who's like fairly feminist and like pretty
Absolutely.
forward thinking.
I think that's because it's not like she is really too young. It's she's just naive because she hasn't been exposed to shit. You're exactly right. Like, her parents are like, we have no desire to see you mature. Like, you could just stay being into Powerpuff Girls. And yes, she's super stunted. Like, she's not
Yeah.
given that platform to grow up yet. And I mean, I don't even think, arguably, she doesn't get that platform. She's got to take it. She's got to
Yeah.
take that shit.
I should have said something sooner, but a thing that I noticed when Craig was recounting the date
Mm-hmm.
after the first segment is something about the way he's like, the cotton candy incident gave me major Ted Mosby vibes. And
I
I
still
don't
have not
usually
watched
hate
all this
Craig,
show.
but
You
but
don't
I
usually hate Craig, but this watch
but
around your.
there's something I hate Ted Mosby. Um,
Oh my gosh. And I mean, I think in this episode, Craig is so matter of fact and really. Because I can tell that he's trying to be as like level-headed as he can be about it, but I also think that someone like that he's been getting things put in his head about how she is a little too young, and that might just lend to how he sees every little thing that could possibly be considered young or, you know, adolescent, like he is like latching onto, and he's like, damn it, she is too young for me, everybody was right.
Well,
And
and he
he's
says that thing about how she reminded him of his sister, which we have to take a moment and acknowledge because,
yes,
in
obviously,
case you did not know,
which she should. I'm sorry, I know.
the actress that plays Angie is Manny's little sister, or is the actress that plays Manny's little sister.
Yes, Alex
Um,
Steele and Cassie Steele. Steele is Angie. Obviously, Cassie Steele is Manny. They are sisters.
and so it makes sense that Manny reminds him of his
Yeah,
kid
it's a
sister.
little Easter egg that they wanted to slide in there, which they look so much alike as well. So it's just like, well, obviously she reminds you of your little sister because they got the same face basically. But
Craig tries to kind of let Manny down easy, but she's not really letting that happen. So he has to very blatantly let her down, and it's heartbreaking.
I mean, even Emma is like, when they have that run in, their first run in, after she's recounting the story to Liberty and Emma, you know, there's a moment where they meet, and it's just obviously not the moment that Manny wants, and Emma reads the room, the very apparent subtext in his lack of, you know, emoting or even like conversing with her. She's like, maybe you should slow down. Maybe Craig isn't into this. You know, she is trying because, like producer Dylan, you know, came in to say, I think like the maturity level that Emma possesses is on a different plane than what
Mhm.
than what Manny possesses currently. So she is not reading the fact that he is just not feeling the vibes. He's
Right.
wanting to let her down gently, and she is not picking up on that. And
Right.
I definitely think that it's like, yes, Emma's trying to be a good friend, she's trying to help her, but because Emma Manny just walks off from that conversation feeling like, oh, I have to cheer Craig up, and then you just I internally groan from this point onward, because I'm just like, oh gosh, I know she's gonna do some shit that involves stuffed animals, damn it. And what does she do? Some shit involving stuffed animals and
It's so
glittery
bad.
signs affixed to
Right.
his fucking locker. And I mean, in her defense, she did wait till the end of the day. He was coming from photography club, so it is not during school hours, so no one was there to see this
Right.
travesty. Because damn, if he had to do that in the middle of the school day, she would be in shambles. At least it's an empty hallway. He's just coming from his school activity, but he's got to literally, okay. And I have to mention this part, that after Ashley leaves, wanting from him signing the petition for GM Foods, Manny immediately says, "I don't think you should talk to her anymore."
Right. Girl,
And
you
for
have been
me,
on one date.
you have been on one date with this man, and you were just like, "I don't think you should talk to her anymore."
Like, frankly, you shouldn't be controlling who your partner talks to ever.
Right,
Although
right.
I do certainly think like
There's a line.
there's a line. There's a like I recently had a friend break up with a somebody I've been friends with for like 15 years, and it was a they brought out the worst in me, or I allowed the worst of me to come out in their presence, and like there's a lot of toxicity and whatever, and it
Mhm.
wasn't until I finally cut the cord that my husband was like, "Yeah, I have never liked this person."
Right.
And I'm like, I wish you had said that sooner.
It's like, that's not my
Like,
friend."
because, like,
I do get, and I mean, I get that wanting to,
it's one thing to say, like, oh, I don't want you hanging out with this girl. It's
yeah,
another thing to say, I don't really like the way you are around this person.
yeah.
Or it's even another thing to say, like, it's nothing to do with you, but everything I know about this person
Hmm.
is like gives me pause, and I wish that you would take that into consideration. But
Sheesh.
you
Now,
don't go on one bad date and then be like, you can't talk to this girl that's in all your classes.
now Manuela Santos does not possess that kind of, reasonable communication,
Right.
those reasonable communication skills. It's definitely like a I'm jealous sort of thing, and not even an I'm jealous. She's just the fact that she takes the initiative to ask Craig out, and then the only reason they go out is because she takes that initiative. And then there is that
Right.
moment where where she's talking to Liberty and Emma, and I think it's Liberty that says, "So you guys are boyfriend girlfriend now?"
Mm-hmm.
And Emma chimes in like, "Have you talked to Craig or something like that?" And Manny's like, "I don't think I need to. I think that I just know." And it's like, fuck, Manny, that's not how shit works, okay?
Right.
That's not how
Right.
shit works. That's not how shit works. There's a whole acronym, for defining the relationship. Like, we can't, like, cannot be overstated how much you need to continue to talk to this man, because he is a 14-year-old boy, and he is
Right.
not on the same page as you.
Oh, dude, even
Um,
with grown ass men,
Even
like,
with grown ass men, I've heard it's ghetto out here, but yeah. I definitely feel like it's so, like, obviously their two dates are from the most opposite points of view, but I think that there's truth in both of the dates.
oh,
And I
definitely.
think that's the point, is why we get the non-objective viewpoints. And I think that for the date considered and everything afterwards, that Craig is probably very justified in feeling the way he feels. Like,
Right.
we're just like, it's just not clicking, Steven. Like, I'm good on this. Like, and I think he knew that after the date, and it's just like the couple things that Manny does as a result of not communicating with him seals the deal for him. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
this was bizarre as shit, and now I'm even more like thrown off
Right.
by this, so I'm out. I'm out of this.
And then we have Ellie and Marco. This whole
Okay.
storyline is so cringy, and I'm trying to show Ellie more grace. I think
I'm trying to
this
trash Ellie more,
storyline
so
is a point in the Ellie sucks column.
it literally, okay, so like you said, we're both trying to look at it from a different point of view. You're trying to be more favorable toward Ellie, and I'm trying to trash her a little bit more. And I've got material from this episode.
Yeah, I tried to show her grace this episode, but I just like, I get being shy and awkward,
Yeah.
but she's just so like, has already made up her mind as to what's going to happen, and it's
Yes.
very frustrating.
She has, and I think that that's something that's a reoccurring character trait. But she's definitely, like, the fact that she created a whole email like titled and like the screen part, the screen name that you could see is Secret Admirer.
No, it's Bad
Or it's
Rhymer.
Bad Rhymer. Sorry, I put that in my notes that she's being a secret, like, the most shady admirer ever. And so she's creating this whole email titled Bad Rhymer, and then expecting Marco to put the pieces together. And if he doesn't put the pieces together, then he doesn't like her.
To be fair, she's writing these emails in the style of this book they bonded over. So,
Right.
like, it's a little weird that Marco thinks that it's Hazel.
Literally, I feel like I have a headcanon on this.
Give me your headcanon, and then I need to throw some shade at Ellie.
Okay. So, historically, in watching this episode, I always thought that there was no way that Marco did not know that it was Ellie. And now, upon rewatch, even though they have that whole little scene in the atrium where they're like, he's like, oh, is it you, Elle? You're the one who's been right. I think that he was fucking with her the whole time, and he knew it was her, and he just wanted her to be the one to say it's me and like own that shit versus just being the hinty Hinterson.
Right.
Like it. And I think I feel this way because of how much like Adamo looks like he's about to fucking burst into laughter the entire time. Every scene
well,
they have
like
to
when
discuss
you
it.
see him looking in the Zen garden before he goes out there and seeing that it's Ellie, like he doesn't seem surprised.
He doesn't. He's not. He doesn't stop and like. Yeah, I think he knows. I think he was fucking with her the whole time just to be like, Elle, have you been the one writing me? And then just make her fucking flee. He just wanted to fuck with her.
I gotta throw some shade at Ellie.
Yeah.
I almost thought about this as a shots fired. I don't think it's quite that. But so Ellie is the first shot we see of Ellie. She's reading this book. It's a children's book by Edward Gorey, and it's like a very morbid alphabet book. Mm-hmm. We learned that Marco's favorite letter in it is E, which is E is for Edward, who chokes on a peach. Mm-hmm. And so first off, we zoom in on Ellie, and she is like deeply reading this book that has one line on the page.
And like she's studying the picture.
Well, and I thought about that.
But
like picture. While the art is interesting, like it's cool art, it's not
detailed.
It's not like sit and you know, I mean, and whatever, art's subjective, and maybe it is for her,
right?
But then they're talking about it, and she says Quan said it's too morbid for a book report, and like
Quan should have told you she shouldn't have said it was too morbid because she should have said that's barely a book, Ellie. It's barely a fucking book.
Substance.
What is the main idea?
Right. There's no plot.
What is the fucking main idea? And how are you going to make like 6 to 9 paragraphs about that?
Book report.
Bitch, there's no way. She'd be better doing Shel Silverstein because like at least that has some heat to it.
Right. Well, it's not what a book report is. Mm-mm. You know, like I could see doing a paper on, you know, a literary and artistic analysis of it or whatever.
Right, but it's not a book report.
But it's not a book report.
It's not. Mrs. Quan continually sets these kids up for failure because she's not going to know how to write what book to pick to write a book report. And she goes on to be a fucking journalist. So what
Right.
the fuck?
And it's like, okay, I'm trying to show Ellie more grace. They're
Maybe
not
cut that,
making
but
it easy. They're not making it easy.
no, it's very like personally I just find it hard. And I mean, it's not like she's not likable, and it's not like her motivations aren't understandable, because they are. It's fucking hard to tell someone you like them. And her whole spiel about saying, "Oh, email is anonymous, afraid of the response, it keeps you a step away." I get that. And that's a very, I read books. I'm super into really like astute ways of saying things. Like that's what the fact that she has that response just
Yeah,
ready
it's
to
very
go.
weird wording and like, yeah, whatever,
It's and that's
whatever.
why I
I'm
remember
trying.
it. But it's just like, I get why you're doing it. However, I wish that I wasn't annoyed throughout the entire
Right.
arc, because it does eventually pay off. But she even once Marco tells her that he likes her and wants to ask her for C, as in coffee, which is cute. She's like, before that, she's like, "I'm an idiot." And he's like, "No, if you were, would I still ask you out for C as in coffee?" And I'm like, I just want her to have a little bit of self-esteem. And it's not that and I really think that people love to call Ellie the pick me girl. And I think that people just use that term entirely too much. While I get that this episode kind of seems very pick me esque, I think that it's more just like, oh, the guy I like could never like me,
Oh,
versus
I don't think she's a pick me in this episode at all. I just think she's like embarrassing.
I think that people, she's very embarrassing, but I think that that's the one thing I hear about her character is every episode she's super pick me. She's just like has no other substance aside from that. And I'm like, I don't
Even
agree.
as like an Ellie hater, I do think there are times when she's a pick me. I don't think that it's as often, like, that's not my
Right.
main beef with Ellie.
I need to develop my main beef with her, but for now
Give it time. Give it
it's
time.
just that I'm annoyed.
It's almost like she's not quite having temper tantrums about shit, but like I don't know quite what the word is, but like when she's like, "Yeah, I know you're supposed to meet Hazel. I know firsthand." And he's like, "Did you send me these?" And then she just like kind of awkwardly walks off.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, "I don't handle rejection well." Bitch, he didn't
He
reject
didn't
you.
reject you.
You
You
rejected yourself.
rejected yourself.
Which I get it because you suck. I'd reject myself too.
Oh my god. And I
Sorry,
mean,
I'm trying to show Ellie more grace.
there is a sort of, and I mean, there's an attachment style. It's possibly, and I mean, we need to get into a little bit more of Ellie's background before I can completely make this assertion. But it's more just like, I'm afraid of rejection, so I'm just going to save you the trouble. And I'm going to
Right.
I'm just going to yeet myself into the void
But
to
then why
avoid this
send the email to
conversation.
begin with?
Because she just, and I really think she wants to be the kind of person that can be confident in being witty and like and having a connection with someone, but at the same time she's like, no one could ever like me, I'm a fucking idiot. But that's like, oh my gosh, it's super merp in a
It's
character.
a really frustrating episode.
Yeah, like trait wise, it's like I want more from you, because I know that you got more, girl. I know you got more in there. As someone who likes the character, this is not a good moment for her character. And it's because I'm spending most of the time being annoyed versus being sympathetic.
Right.
That does change. Hopefully, I'll have a little bit more nuance to my opinions about her, but there's a couple standout episodes where I'm like, yeah, I'm fully on her side about her feelings.
Oh, definitely.
I hope I'm not annoyed going through this second time. But, and I also think one thing to mention that I don't think we did was just that Hazel kind of saw the whole interaction between Ellie and Marco while, he approaches her while she's reading the book. And that their picnic table is right next to Ellie's picnic table, and I think it's pretty implied that Hazel just suddenly got the idea, like, oh, Marco's single, hot, nice, funny, whatever, let me go fucking shoot my shot. Like, she was not thinking about Marco until she saw that exchange. Like, literally.
Andrea's delivery is really cute.
Yes, it is.
But there's something about like Hazel's on the case, or whatever it is. That's like a glaring example of how not seriously they take this fucking character.
Oh, totally. It's like
That's
like what do we need? It like just let's throw a wrench in whatever the plot is by putting Hazel in there because Hazel's not doing shit. Let's just you know she's just a plot device. Like let's just throw
yeah,
Hazel in there, and I mean that's literally the inciting incident of why Ellie decides to reveal her obvious crush for Mark. Like it's not a new crush. She's been crushing on
right.
Marco, and that is the inciting incident is because she sees Hazel moving up on her man. So she's
Hmm.
like, I need to throw my hat in the ring, so to speak, or I'm going to miss out. Um,
Right.
it's just so, and I mean, obvious. I think it was stated, but they go out for coffee and not, or at least he asks her for coffee, and
And
that's
we'll
pretty.
see
I
where it
mean,
goes from there.
we see where it goes from there. I just,
I feel like they're in it for the long haul. Probably they're gonna
oh,
be together
totally,
forever,
high school
forever.
sweethearts all the
End game.
way.
Um. So I feel like that's everything.
I think that's everything. Yeah.
So would you like to come with me once again, my dear, to the fashion corner?
Why, yes, my favorite corner.
I don't love it. I don't hate it,
Okay.
but I think it's very notable.
Mm-hmm.
Is Manny's fantasy sequence outfit where she's wearing this long, like satiny white gown
Mm-hmm. She's got a
with the
butterfly clip in
gloves.
her
She's
hair.
got a butterfly clip, but like a fancy
A
butterfly clip.
fancy. Yeah, it's like
It's a
Sugar
look.
Plum Princess. It's
Oh
like a
my god, that's
Barbie
such a
outfit.
good
Yeah,
description of it.
it
And
is.
like,
That's what it's giving. It's giving Sugar Plum Princess.
I don't know. I love it for what it is.
Yes. And I mean, the fact that they give Manny Emma's scraps in regard to like fashion up until this point, at least it's we haven't seen Emma in a similar outfit. Um, I woke up.
Well, and I think it's a good, going back to what Dylan was saying of Manny being kind of like stunted
Yes,
and
still dreaming
juvenile.
she's
Like
a
it's very like
princess.
fairy princessy.
It is. That's and I mean like the whole and having Craig just be her, dressed in a tux and he looks like a prince and he's leading her by arm and everything that yeah, it's very princess and prince,
Hmm.
which is right where
It's
her
a cute
psyche's
look.
at. It's a definitely a cute look.
It's
I
good.
don't
The costuming conveys a lot.
It does. It does. It definitely says a lot about how the character is feeling, even in a fantasy. And I feel like throughout this entire episode, Manny's glowing in a different way. I think that it's
Hmm.
possible that they've started putting makeup on Cassie. I'm not sure, but next to Emma, she's never looked this glowy before, and just like it's like an enhanced version of her natural glow. And
Hmm.
so I feel like I had to mention it. And the outfit that she is wearing, where I first noticed it, it's like a jean jacket, but it also has like blue pants and a large buckle on the front of it because like whatever shirt she has on, she's hiding it because she's got her books really pressed to her
Hmm.
chest. And I think it's cute. I think it's the beginning of her having her own style that's not necessarily dependent on Emma,
Yeah.
which is lovely. Thank God.
Speaking of Emma,
Mm-hmm.
I love her black and white daisy pants.
I thought that you were going to mention those pants. I mentioned the vest as just to say that she's got a puffy vest thing, but
That's
I
not
do.
puffy. That's like a fleece
It's
vest.
all right. I was gonna be diplomatic and just say sweater vest, but I like that better. It's a fleece vest, but she likes her vests. Okay, she's into her fleece, and because she wears fleece
It's
and during her first date.
Canada. They always need. When I'm the first year I moved to Vermont, my mom got me this like hot pink vest from Old Navy for Christmas.
Hmm.
And I had never lived somewhere where like I needed a vest. Vests have always seemed stupid to me. And so like I put it on. I was such an asshole. I put it on and I wore it all day. And I was really excited at first because I thought like it was a hot pink coat, but then it was just a vest.
Hmm.
And so I put it on, I wore it all day, and I would randomly be like, man, my core is nice and toasty, but my arms are wanting something more. And like every couple of presents that I opened, I would be like, is it sleeves? Which next year, Charlie for Christmas got me a 6-pack of sleeves. My first winter in Vermont, I came to appreciate the vest. And I
Yeah.
think that the vest makes sense in Canada. They all wear a lot of vests.
It does. It's just for me, it's like an interesting combo. It's like
That's
it's
fair.
an interesting combo, but I'm feeling it, and I love her mom vibes. That's why they dressed her like that, because it's like, oh, I've got to have the camera. I'm playing Spike, got to have the
Right.
camera. So the daisy pants are cute, in conjunction with the vest. I see you've got a picture of Hazel in here.
Yeah.
All right. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Hazel's
Go ahead
got
on
this
Hazel.
funky top. And I wanted to I got to get a picture of the back too, because she gets up and she's got like a coordinating belt. It's I'm not sure what she's doing here, and I don't hate it,
Yeah.
but I don't love it. But it's one of those like it's worth talking
It's
about,
worth a discussion.
and it's
Yeah.
like all of these different colored like bubbles, basically.
Her pants
Um,
are cute.
yeah, she's
She
got
had
very cute
there's
jeans
no
on.
I love those. I think that like Mud made those kind of jeans, but it's
Hmm.
just they don't have any back pockets. It's
Right.
smooth ass jeans.
They don't even have like the fake back
There's no
pockets.
fake, right, it's just smooth. There's no fake back pockets, no real back pockets. It's just smooth denim ass. That's the bottoms to
And then
that
she's
outfit.
got this funky top.
Yeah, funky top. It's
But
cute.
that
It's a
was,
cute outfit.
know,
I mean, right, like two pack. As far as the two pack, we've had better fashion moments, but we're keeping
they
on.
can't,
Our
they're
iconic moments
teenagers.
are
They
in
can't
front of
look great
us.
every day.
Right, the iconic moments are in front of us, not behind us. We've got a lot of good stuff to go. And we've got a Heather Sinclair hypothesis for this episode. And I think that we just decided this before the recording. But in the scene where Marco is on the phone with Ellie walking across the parking lot to the bus stop, there is briefly, you've got to pause it. She's there for about 2 seconds. There is a blonde woman who walks behind Marco, and she's in tinted sunglasses, so you can't really see her face. And that is Heather Sinclair.
We
We
hypothesize.
hypothesize.
We'll add a picture of her, of potential Heather, to the
Yes.
socials.
Yes. Yeah, and I think the last segment for this episode is our shots fired. Pew
Pew,
pew
pew,
pew
pew,
pew
pew.
pew.
Shots fired.
Yeah. I actually didn't really have many for this, other than Ellie wanting to do a book report on a children's alphabet book.
You're like, fuck you, Ellie. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It makes me mad. Whatever. But I know you have some shots.
I do. I have three. So, in the scene where Ashley and Ellie are talking in the media immersion lab, Ellie is basically saying, "It's weird. I've never felt this way before." And Ashley says, "It's love." And Ellie responds with, "It's not your business. Shut up." And I love it. I love
I'm
it.
all for telling Ashley to shut up.
And coincidentally or incidentally, why I probably love that line so much is that it was a commercial. They made that a commercial on the end to advertise the season.
Did they?
They did. So that soundbite was on was on that commercial. My next one is Craig saying, after Manny asks him out, is Craig saying like, "Oh, to a movie? Sure. Oh, you mean with you? I don't know." And then he pauses just enough to give her the shits, and then he quickly says, I'm kidding."
Right.
And Manny's like, "You so had me there." Like, bitch, don't lie. He entirely had you. Like,
Yeah.
and it was not something you thought was a joke. You thought that your life was over. And my last one, no, I have two more. I don't know where my fourth one went, but I remember it. Him describing to the guys, like them asking, "Oh, was it hot?" And he's about the date, and Craig says, "Hot? No, I think the best way to describe our date would be bizarre." As a grown ass woman, that is not a good look.
Yeah.
It sucks. And the last one, I think you mentioned it briefly earlier. No, we skipped around it because it's just such a good line. Is after Manny decorates Craig's locker, and she's like, "You don't like it?" And he's like, "Manny, it's not my locker I don't like. It's you." And for me, the shots fired part of that line is it's you, because you could have just
Yeah.
left it to implication that it's her without saying it. That's
It
dick
can be
move,
though
Craig.
because she
Dick
hasn't
move,
been
Craig.
picking up on the signs.
Some people you got to be extra firm with, and perhaps that was his way of being extra firm. But damn, that hurt. That smarts.
Yeah, no, it hurt. I hurt for
Woo.
Manny.
But yeah, those are the shots fired.
It's also worth noting that this episode is the beginning of Spinner's bleach blonde era,
Mm.
which or Hera, as I like to call them. Spinner's got some hair throughout the series, and this is
does.
one of his many looks.
He does. We know my personal fave, that good Charlotte hair.
Ah,
It's coming. It's coming. But so we've got to get into our shining stars and our super bummers for the episodes.
yes.
So for Mirror in the Bathroom, how do we feel? Who's the shining stars?
I had Spinner and Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Spinner because he's great with Terry, even though he doesn't date her. Just date her; it would be so much better
Please
for
just date her.
everybody.
Oh my god.
And then Ashley because she's really good and supportive of Toby and like actually looking out for him and caring.
Yeah.
With an honorable mention to JT
Mm-hmm.
and to Armstrong.
Yep, that's me too. We're aligned. I feel like the honorable mention is apt. I'm fine with Ashley being up there, and of course we got to have our main man Spin because he was holding it down for on on Terry's behalf. So absolutely with those 4-pack, I'm good on that. Super bummers. Oh my gosh, do you have this like? Because I feel like I wasn't that bummed out. Other than
Honestly,
like Paige,
mine,
kind of. Muhammad is like a plot device.
Muhammad
He doesn't.
doesn't
He. I mean,
count.
he's around, but he doesn't. He's not really a character. So
He's not. I looked on the wiki today to see if he fell into a black hole on this episode, and no, he's only in 3
He's-
episodes
right.
total.
And there's
So he
we see him
doesn't count.
again after this.
Yeah,
This
we
is
see him
third.
in Message in a Bottle.
Okay, cool. Well, so he's not black hole in it yet, but he's
Not yet, but
teetering
it's
on
coming.
the edge.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Honestly, I had Toby just because he's being so like it's not the eating disorder. Honestly, it's not even the like hangry shit or the like sad boy shit. But
You
like
think
he's
it's the incel shit?
He's so gross with Kendra and Nadia, and I hate it.
Caroline hates incels.
I do. They're
Rightfully
dangerous
so.
and
Rightfully
violent
so.
and gross.
Yeah, and I mean, I get where you're coming from on that. I will not disagree. I don't know if I necessarily. It's because like I wouldn't put Terry on there, and I know that I think for you, it's just like that one scene is like, damn it, Toby, that's fucking nasty.
Also, like being shitty to everybody and like whatever.
He
but,
is. He's.
But it's that one scene, and I wouldn't put Terry there. I did give an honorable mention to Paige.
Yes, I was gonna say Paige. Paige, accusations of being a thief. Like,
well, and then also I would so wear that if I
and I would
if
so
were
wear
plus.
yes,
like
yes,
that is a backhanded compliment. You know,
it
what
is
you're
certainly
doing.
a backhanded compliment.
Because
So
you
yes,
could buy that mini skirt in your size. Like it
you
wouldn't
could
be
totally
that
buy
exact
that in your
one.
size.
But
Yeah, she was being a little dick. Yeah, I'm good on that. Those two as super bummers. Because
so, who are your shining stars for Take My Breath Away? Because I really struggled on that.
Yeah, so I feel like for me it was Liberty and it was Emma. I feel like more so Emma because of the fact that she is so trying to prevent her friend from getting hurt, that she is trying to be as delicate as possible. It's not easy to have these talks. She's trying to be as delicate as possible to pull her back from her feelings and offer her some perspective so that she doesn't get hurt. And I think Liberty's just very supportive, and sweet, and she did not bum me out. The fact that like her little line saying Craig has two things I love, like punctuality and I think personality.
My two favorite qualities: passion and punctuality.
Passion and punctuality.
Was cute.
She was cute, and I mean,
I thought they were both good. I just didn't think they really shined.
I don't know if they shine, but I mean, like for me, it's I was more irritated with like so many people in this episode that I was
Yeah.
just like, the bright spot in this annoying ass episode was Liberty and Emma.
If we're working with your canon that Marco is like fucking with Ellie, then I would call him a shining star. I didn't put him in that category because I was like, how are you this stupid?
You're like, you're
But
like, fuck, like, are you that fucking stupid? No,
but
yeah,
no, like
I like
your
my
theory,
that's
he's
my head
clever,
that's
so
my
I
head
would put
canon.
him
Is just that
there.
he wanted her. Yeah, all right, let's throw him in there. You're like,
Who are your
you like it claps and snaps for that, Marco.
who are your super bummers?
Craig, Ellie, um, honestly,
Manny.
Manny. Yeah, Manny's in
Yeah.
there because Manny, what the fuck? Just talk to the boy, throw him a bone. Jesus, Craig as well. Stop being such a dick, Craig. Stop being so blunt, but like also continue to be blunt because I mean, don't be wishy washy. But damn,
Right.
have a little tact. Um, yeah, and Ellie, she just annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah.
She just annoys the shit out of me. Ellie, I love you so much, and it's really throwing me for a loop that I'm suddenly starting to get annoyed with you, and I kind of hope it doesn't continue. But in this episode, gosh,
It's my
bum me
fault.
out. You bum me out. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Oh
I
wait,
don't have any disagreements there.
I'll tack on if we're being generous toward the Shining Stars. I'll tack Ashley on there because I think that she was again supportive towards Ellie and just being like, "Oh, I didn't even know you liked anyone. You know, it's love." Like she's not being negative, which in this episode is where it's rare in this episode to not find some negativity around every corner.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw Ashley in there.
All right.
Yeah, she's throwing her in there. I'm good on that
You're
now.
in a good mood this week.
I am in a good mood this week.
Yay, I love that for you.
Thank you.
I guess all that's really left is to ask the age-old question: does it go there?
Does it go there?
Does it go there?
All right. So obviously, Mirror in the bathroom fucking slaps there.
Goes there.
It does. Yes, Mirror in the bathroom 100% goes there. I would say on both plots. I mean, obviously on Toby's plot, but I'm also going to say it goes there on Terry's plot because she claps back and it's powerful, and it's also the resolution kind of it's like Terry reclaiming her power and asserting that, maybe she's not 100% happy with herself, self-esteem wise. She's not going to let you shit all over her. Right. And I love that for her. So I'm going to say that Mirror in the bathroom, it goes there. Take My Breath Away.
Not so
Does
much.
not. No. No,
And
I don't even think
okay.
it doesn't. Right, and I don't think it attempts to go there necessarily. I think it's just a fun episode.
And it does
to get annoyed too.
It gives us some like plot development.
Structural,
but no, it's not. There are no stakes in this episode.
Very little, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Your Mom's Podcast. Next week, we're shaking things up a little bit to avoid splitting up White Wedding. Join us as we talk about love, strippers, and perhaps the worst hairdo to ever grace Degrassi.
This episode of Your Mom's Podcast was made possible in part by Chocolax, Sheila Sauce, and support from listeners like you.
And we'd like to take just a moment to thank our Patreon subscribers, Alika Fenderson,
Octavia Faith,
June Bard,
Margot Mancini,
and A-Butts.
Thank you so much for your support. If you'd like to further support our show, you can follow our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at YMPadcast and TikTok at Your Mom's Podcast. You can also visit our website at www.padcast.com. Your Mom's Podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you feel so inclined, subscriptions and reviews are another great way to support the show. If you'd like to support us financially, you can subscribe to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/yourmomspodcast. And remember, That's Padcast. PAHDCAST.
Bring, 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 bring.